Hi guys, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone today? Well, I'm not feeling well today, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, all that good junk. So I decided to get on and do my little question and answer video because I didn't get too many questions where this won't be a long video for me. And I thought I'd do that today. I may have that energy. I was going to cash stuff for you today, but I don't have the energy. So hopefully I will tomorrow. But I cleaned off my desk with a wipey, so I'm going to be putting the stuff back on my desk as I answer the questions here. Let's see. Let me get my little notes out. I didn't write down who asked the questions. I wish I did. I should have done that. But I didn't. Okay. So the number one question that I was asked is, have I filed for disability? Yes, of course I have filed for disability. I have multiple sclerosis and I need disability. But for those of you that have never had to be in that predicament, disability is not a quick process. In our state, the average number of days that you wait for your case to be approved or denied is 400 days. That's over a year wait that I'll be waiting just to be denied. Because by what everyone has told me, you will be denied the first time because they will say, well, you can work. You can still work, right? Well, of course I can. But not many jobs want to hire a person that can only work 4 or 6 hours and has to sit down the whole time. Of course, there are jobs out there, which I'm still trying for. I'm waiting to hear back from another retail job that was doing a background check. Of course, they're not going to find anything bad. So hopefully that job will hire me. I put in 100 applications and only got about 4 callbacks, 4 interviews, and then after the interview, I get a letter saying no. And I don't know if that's because of my disability or if it's because they don't want to take on someone that can't work many hours, or like what exactly it is. I feel like my personality is nice. I'm really good at my job. I've never had a bad review. I've been in retail a total of 10 years now. So I feel like I should be able to get a job, but so far I haven't. I'm talking in circles now. Back to disability. I applied 7 months ago, and it's still in review right now. It's not moved any further. I don't know if the government shutdown has affected it, but I'll be waiting an entire year. I applied April 30th, so this April will be a year, and that's several more months until I get a yes or no. I'm assuming I'm going to get a no, and then I'll hire a disability lawyer, and we'll do the second round. I'm not going to get very much money for disability. I think it said my average is probably going to be $300 a month because I didn't work many years to put money into disability. I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, and then I worked 2 years in retail. No, I worked 2 years. Yeah, 2 years in retail. Then I moved to the main retail store. That was 3 years in retail. Then I was out for COVID for a little while, and then I've been back 5 years at my last job. So that's a total of like 8 years. Plus I did work a year at a dollar store. 9 years, somewhere in there, 9 to 10 years. So I didn't put a lot of money into disability, so I won't be getting a lot of money out. Second question. That was such a long-winded for one question. I hope you guys are still with me. Sorry about that. Second question, unemployment. Yes, I have filed for unemployment. It's been 4 weeks now that I haven't worked. Actually, it's been 5. This is the 6th week because we're in November now. So 6 weeks that I haven't worked. I have filed for it. It's in like step 3 of 5. It's not moved anywhere. They're not in any hurry to call on their end to get whatever they need to do to go on. I've done everything on my end. I've applied for like a WorkSource website where you look for jobs. I've turned in my 3 jobs a week that I have applied for. I've applied for way more, but you gotta have 3 jobs a week. You can't turn down any work, which I haven't done because I haven't been offered any. So I'm doing all the correct steps, but unemployment's not in a hurry either. I've not made a lot of money over the last year because they cut out that last hour at work, and I can only work 4 hours at a time, sometimes 6, but usually 4. So I'm only going to get $190 a week for unemployment, is what they said. If I get it, when I get it, I don't know. So right now, we're really struggling. But I am looking for work. I thank you guys for your encouraging words. Every week y'all are really encouraging, helping me. And I really just do need a job because we just can't make it on one income. Okay. Second, Uber Eats. Have I done any more Uber Eats? I have not. I can still do Uber Eats. I'm still active on there. I might make sure I'm still active, log into it and see how it's going, and me and my daughter may do that. I gotta talk to her about it. She usually she would drive me around and I'd go in and get the order, and then she'd drive me to the place and I'd go, drop it off at their door. I used to try to make $100 a week, $50 to $100 a week doing that. I may do that again. That may be something I can do. I'll talk to her about that. My husband used to drive me some, but he was just a grumpy guest, and it just really wasn't worth it mentally to ask him to help me. So I don't ask my husband to help me anymore with that, but my daughter will help me some. So I may ask her to do that again next time I talk to her. That may be something I can do until I get unemployment or another job. Okay. A person kind of made me laugh. She said she didn't get why we don't just put all of our categories in one binder. And I kind of laughed because, girl, I have like 60 categories. You think these suckers are going to fit in one binder? That's a fat binder right there. I wish I had one that would fit something like that, but I don't. So that part made me laugh. But then she asked, she didn't understand his bills, my bills. And I haven't touched on that in a while for my new subscribers. So, a few weeks ago when I had a job, my husband, for the last 5 years or so, maybe even longer than that, we split our bills. He pays for rent, which I think is like $880 now, and I pay for tuition, which used to be about $700. And then he pays for all revolving bills, lights, water, gas, car payment, car insurance, cell phone, things like that. So he doesn't have a binder, no, because he just pulls that out of his account. And then my bills were tuition and anything me and the kids need. He can't or won't provide, just can't provide what me and the children need. He has never been able to do that. And I got tired of suffering and having the children suffer. So that's why I started this envelope system about 3 or 4 years ago, because I got tired of that. So I wanted to make sure we had money for school clothes, school shoes, Christmas, Easter, field trip, summer fun, stuff like that. So I pay for the children's categories and the things that I need, and he pays for revolving bills and rent. Now that we're on one income, though, it's become more difficult. He's still paying the rent and the revolving bills, and I'm trying to scrape together money to pay my bills, which is my credit cards, and for my envelopes. But if we're going to stay on one income, I'm going to have to get rid of most of my credit cards because I can't make the payments anymore. That's just what it is. So that's why I'm doing the debt snowball, so that most of my cards can be at a zero balance. And we won't have that stress of my bills on us until we figure out what we're doing. We're doing pretty good with our debt snowball. You guys help me get my JCPenney card down to 0. And right now I'm working on my Buckle card. I'll be doing another debt confession around February to show you guys how good we're doing. So we're doing really well on that. Hold on one second. I need to get my coffee. Okay, sorry about that. I have to have a drink with me because my MS starts making my muscles, I start getting mush mouth because of my MS. Okay. Next, do we have envelopes for car repair or medical? How do we deal with that? Well, car repair, I do not have an envelope for that. I do need to make one. Me and my husband have been talking about that. Now that we're on one income, maybe we need a car repair envelope for when our tire blows out, or, you know, we need a car part. So we have been talking about that. I do have an envelope that's extra payment for my car payment. But maybe I do need to have a car repair envelope. Now, when it comes to medical bills, I do have a medical envelope that I save for doctor's appointments that I know are coming up. But if we have a medical bill come in from something unplanned or something, I don't have an envelope for that. I just usually keep it in my daily binder here that I look at every day. I'll show you guys how I budget in here. I usually just keep it in here, and I once a week will go and scan it. You know how you can scan the little QR code and it'll pop up. And I try to pay a little bit each week. That's just how I do if a medical bill comes in that's unexpected. We try to pay a little bit each week until it's gone. We don't have any at the moment. We paid up most of the small ones from this year. And we're holding off all doctors and dental appointments until next year, which is only about a month and a half. And, you know, unless an emergency comes up, of course. But I've made dentist and doctor's appointments for next year. And the last one is, do I ever get discouraged with cash stuffing? Yes, absolutely. Yes, there are times that I go through my envelopes. I sit here at my desk sometimes to have private time or me time, and I pull out my envelopes and I go through them and count them and just kind of relax, and, you know, I'm just silent and quiet and just look through them. And I realize sometimes that I cash stuff in these envelopes for a whole year sometimes, and sometimes the money in there is just $25 or $45 or such a small amount. And I've worked so hard all year long to put money in there that it is discouraging, and it gets me down so bad. This year, my envelopes are so much smaller and not quite full. We didn't quite make our goals on a lot of our envelopes this year because I worked a lot less this year because I feel like they were trying to get me to quit. They cut out that hour, and then they started giving me only 8 hours a week sometimes, maybe 12 hours, but usually it was 8 hours a week. And I hung in there because I wasn't going to let them make me quit. As mean as they were to me, they bullied me over several things that I can't even mention on this channel that are ridiculous. But they were trying to make me quit. They were trying to find loopholes. And they finally just fired all of us. All of part-time employees. There was only about 4 of us. So, yeah. I do get discouraged. I am discouraged right now. I woke up in a pretty good mood today, but my head hurts because of allergies. The weather, you know, is bipolar where I live. It's been freezing for a few days, and now it's, you know, 70, 80 degrees. So, I'm having migraines. We have no money. You know, I look forward to my husband getting paid on Fridays because I think, you know, I can take a little bit, you know, like $100 to $300 to pay a few bills or something, and then he has no money. My husband's not good at budgeting. He tends to like dig a hole and then cover it up the next week and dig a hole and cover it up, and we never get ahead. And that's the reason I started my envelopes, is I wanted to get ahead for myself and my children and let him do his own thing and his own budget. And if he was behind, he was behind, and that wasn't my problem. But now that we're doing one income, it's become my problem. So we're trying to budget together, and I'm trying to explain to him that he can no longer make not good financial decisions because it affects all of us. So this week was one of those last bad financial decisions that he made, and we have no money. Each of our checking accounts, to be honest with you, each of my husband's and my checking account has less than $200. How are we going to live on that for a whole week? Pay bills and food and gas and simply pay bills and live. And how are we going to do that? So, I desperately need a job. I may do the Uber Eats to sustain us a little bit. That was a very good suggestion. I'm going to live on what's left in my wallet here for one more week as well. I don't have a cash wallet stuffing for you because I don't have the money. This is his last financial bad decision because I put my foot down on that, and we're going to do better. I don't feel guilty about it because I don't budget like that. I pay my bills on time. I never miss one. I'm ahead always. But he's not. But now that it's one income, I'm going to have to start forcing his budget to be more like my budget. So we're going to do better on that. So thank y'all for listening. I would appreciate some encouraging words today. Thank you for asking me these very good questions. I hope I answered them all for you and didn't chit-chat too long. And I am going to have a bonus binder coming up. I filmed that yesterday when I was feeling well. And I may do my cash stuffing tomorrow if I wake up and I feel better. If not, I will see you guys in a few days. Thank y'all for all the help and support. I love you very much. Bye-bye.